Hello everybody. It is Jackie from Pocket of Preschool, and tonight or today, depending on when you're watching, we are talking all about butcher paper activities for a community helper theme. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna walk you through, like, I think it's 15 maybe-ish activities, butcher paper activities for community helper theme. So there's one for doctor, plumber, like all the different jobs that you do, firefighter, all of them. So I'll give you one for each one. And then also you'll see how you can kind of, like I have one for farm or farmer, and you can take that one and make it into engineer or trains. So I'll tell you ways you can kind of tweak it to make it match the community helper that you are studying that day. Because typically when I do a community helper theme, I usually do a 2-week theme, and then each day I focus on one community helper. So hopefully this will kind of get you through all of them. And yeah, so if you're wondering what butcher paper activities are, they are giant. This is a small butcher paper. This is kind of like easel paper, but it's that giant paper you have in your teacher workroom. But again, small butcher paper works too. Any sort of large paper poster board, kind of like gift wrap size paper that you can use to create activities on, because when they're giant, one, they're more engaging. Two, students are up, they are moving around, they are stretching, so they're having to build their big muscles, and they have to have strong big muscles before they can have strong little muscles. So they're building their big muscles and their small muscles, because usually there's some kind of manipulative or marker or pencil, something, or not really pencil, marker, crayon, something involved, and they're just up moving, and it's collaborative. So these are not individual activities. These are activities you could put out for, I do butcher paper activities a lot for arrival time, because once you get one kiddo started, or once you kind of have one part of it set up, they can kind of go to town, because they are pretty easy for them to manipulate and kind of do as they wish. So without further ado, let's jump in and get started. And also tell me, what's your favorite butcher paper activity, or what is the favorite thing you do during your community helper theme? And also, where all the links are, there are links to a big community helper blog post, tons of activities for like math, science, all the things, blocks, all of it. There's also book lists, there's a video on a community helper theme in general, and there's some dramatic play that you can do to support your community helper theme. So let's jump right in. So this, if you're wondering, this is India ink. You can buy it in a big, giant thing, and I just put it in a bingo dauber. So a lot of the black lines you're gonna see are, I'm not gonna draw it on this paper. Hold on. Let's see, where do I have? So you can see kind of what it is. It's just really, oh, hold on. I haven't used that one in a minute. It's just fast drying ink, and it's nice and black. It is permanent. So teacher, at least for preschool, it's in pre-K and kinder, I would say this is a teacher tool, not so much a student tool. But this is the ink I use. Otherwise, you can use, I love using like Mr. Sketch, or any kind of thick marker will work too to make these activities. So let's jump right in. Okay, so the first one I have, it's taking a moment. Okay, so this is one I did with my students, obviously. So we made a giant map. Even though it's a community helper theme, it's a great time to do maps. So I have a whole blog post on this. I actually did a whole video on how to make this, but basically the first day, every kiddo drew or made their house. And then the next day I had taped them down. I did a marker line where the roads would be. So they used cars to drive to make the roads. And then they said we needed some greenery, or like grass and bushes. So they used some paint. And then it was kind of like a giant, it was like a giant interactive map. So it was a great way to kind of start the community helper theme. And you can also talk about, you could even have each kiddo make, each house can be a different place. So you could be like, yours, what place in the community do you want yours to be? Yours is the hospital where the nurses and the doctors work. Yours is a mechanic shop. or an auto shop where mechanics and a receptionist work. So you can do it that way too. But this is a really, really fun one to kind of start it off with and to sneak in some map skills. I'm just gonna kind of toss them that way. So if you didn't want to do that map, you can also do one smaller. So I drew just the 4 roads, and then what you would do is, you would just put out some shapes. Now you could only put out triangles. I can't find a triangle, of course. You could only put out some, just have the triangle shapes and the square shapes out, or rectangles. And what they would do, they would use those, and they would, I always have a little trash bucket out too. So they would use those to stick on the map and make the buildings. And then you could have green and blue markers out too. So that way, and again, I love having a little trash bucket for the stickers. You can have green and blue out on the table, and then they can draw, you know, the grass in. And you could put, black too, because they could also, like if they wanted to make a road here, they can make a road there. So that way they have kind of a start with, you would have, again, just the 4 main long roads, and then the students could go in and make more smaller roads and little houses or places in the community. They could also add water to it. And again, I love the little trash bucket when you're using foam sticker shapes. So another little fun thing you could do, you could also use like paper. If you have like a whole bunch of like paper punches, or you could even free cut some squares and triangles, and then you can make a map that way. So that is a fun idea you can do. Let's do, and again, this is just, it's this big. Doesn't fit on the whole camera. But again, you could do these at a table. You can do these on the floor. It's also great to do it on the floor, because crawling around and kind of moving their body around that way too, it's a lot of heavy work, which is great sensory input. So if your kids are like a little rowdy that day, maybe they haven't been able to go outside, this is a great way. Put one of these on the floor and then kind of crawl around, get some heavy work in, because they're pushing it on the floor as they're moving and doing other things. So this is a types of line. So there's kind of 3 stages, I feel like. So they can trace it with manipulatives. They can also like trace it with an item. And then they can trace it with a marker, kind of trace it with the, like, I'll show you what I mean by item. So I was gonna do dental health for this one. So what you could do is put out some pom-poms and some teeth. You can either have teeth mini erasers, or these are little teeth. They're actually like the tooth saver necklaces. I got a whole bunch of them, like a bulk pack on Amazon. And then I would have out toothbrushes. So what your students could do is they could make the lines with the teeth or the cavities. So making the line with the manipulatives, again, great fine motor. They're practicing making that line. You could also put out a toothbrush so they can brush the line. Again, we have a smaller object, or kind of like a writing type tool in their hands, so they can trace the line with that. So that's kind of the first step, and the next step obviously would be, so first they either trace it or build it, and then the next step would be for them to copy it, which I'll show you that in a minute, and then to make it independently without any visual support. So for this one, again, you can do this for dental health, or dentist, or a dental health theme. So again, I just typically pretend this is the end of the table. I typically put the manipulatives out kind of in the corners, and then you could have kind of the toothbrushes out, so they can, and again, always add tweezers, so they can use the tweezers and they can make the different types of lines. And I don't mind if they mix them, my manipulatives, whatever works for them, as long as they're engaging in the activity, it's fine with me. And again, they can also trace the line with the toothbrushes. But maybe you're like, I don't have teeth mini erasers, or I don't need another dentist activity. So you could use, again, make a piece of butcher paper with all of the types of lines. Maybe look in your cabinet and see what mini erasers you have. Like I have these books, so they could make the types of lines with the books. And that would be for either a teacher or a librarian. right? So basically switch out the manipulatives for the occupation that day. Maybe you need zookeeper and you have some Zoo mini erasers, so you're going to have them use the Zoo mini erasers to make the types of lines. Again, you can use whatever manipulatives you have to kind of work for on that theme. This one I do really love having them trace with the toothbrushes. They love that. And then obviously little cavities. So, and then you can also make them colorful, and again, they don't have to be all types of lines. They could be some shapes, they could be like circles, they could just be big arches. So they could be parts of lines too, like a whole bunch of straight lines. You have a spiral down there. So again, you could use, let's say, the books, and you can say the librarian uses the books, and then they're gonna use the books to make the different types of lines. But again, if you don't have books, you can do teeth for dentist, or maybe you have pizzas and you could do pizzas for chef. Again, use what you have. You don't always have to go out and buy all the new things. So, this one is a little bit different. This was originally just a blank piece of brown butcher paper. And then what I did was I made a whole bunch of different types of lines on just some sentence strips, or you could just even cut up some tissue paper, construction paper, and you can put them at the top or at the bottom. Again, all the different types of lines, and just put these kind of across the top, or you could put them kind of down the side, whatever you want to do. Well, let's say we'll put them down the side for right now. And then with that, they're gonna want to have out some brown markers. And then I also like to have diggers out. So obviously this would be a construction worker. So what they're going to do is pick a type of line, and then they're going to make that. So up and down and up and down and up and, woo! Maybe tape this down to the table, up and then maybe to make the zigzag. They're gonna move the vehicle that way. And then they can use the marker and make that type of line. So like you can tell this friend did the zigzag, and do they have to do it all the way across? No. Like they just did it till about here and they stopped. If they go all the way across, great. Usually I do community helper theme at the beginning of the year. Are they all gonna start on this side? No, some kiddos are gonna start in the middle. And what's another reason why they would start in the middle of the paper? Maybe there's a friend right here and they are using this space, so another friend's gonna start over here. So it's okay if they don't all start on this side of the paper going, page direction. That's okay. They can start in the middle, or like this friend did some spirals. You have some whole bunches kind of all over. But again, it's just a brown piece of paper with some different types of lines out and the markers, and add some diggers. And also too, if you have the diggers out, when their hand gets tired from making these lines, because this is really hard work, or maybe their eyes get tired from having to look and then write, because our eyes are a muscle just like our arms and our hands. So maybe their eyes get tired, or their hands get tired, or a combination. They can use the digger and kind of give maybe they're doing a straight line, or maybe they're gonna do this dotted line. Give their little itty bitty fingers a break and use more of their whole hand to kind of guide the car. Again, just having options is really fun too. And again, you don't have to have a ton. You can grab these from the block center. Again, the butcher paper activities are great for a table time activity, because you may not have a whole bunch of diggers because they're kind of expensive. So grab these 4 from the block center, use it for your arrival activity. Then you can put these back in the block center for center time play. And then I usually just kind of paper clip these together, because maybe you're gonna have this out. You can have these out like 2 mornings in a row if the page isn't full, or maybe it went really, really well and put it out again the next morning. And you can always take this, kind of staple these to the top, you can put a picture at the bottom of the students doing the activity and kind of write it up, and this can be a bulletin board showing families what students are doing at preschool, because we're not doing all the worksheets, right? There's not a lot coming home, so we need to show families what we're doing. Okay, all right, so our next one, kind of going with the construction theme some more, I have these kind of puddles. They look like puddles, right? This one is for plumbers. So I got these at the dollar store, or Dollar Tree, $1.25 store. So what they're gonna do, you put these out with a bucket of letters, and all students are gonna do is they are gonna pick a letter, Q, they can say the letter name or the sound, and then find it, Q, and then pick it off. Or they can, pick it off, Q, and then, put it back, or maybe in like a discard pile, because you don't want to leave it on there because other people are going to be getting the letters too. And then like grab another letter, U, and then they have to find it. It's over here, right? And again, you can have 3, 4 of these out, depending on your kiddos that year and how many you think can do this activity at once. Again, I just got these at the $1.25 tree. And again, you don't need anything special. Just grab a bucket of letters. Do you have to make sure there's A through Z, one of each? No, just grab a bucket of magnet letters or whatever manipulative they like and grab it. You can also grab, if you have like any blue gems that you have that look like, they would look like water, again, for plumbing. Grab those. If not, again, just grab any letter manipulative you have and that will work. But I mean, how fun. This is like a super fun, engaging letter activity. B, B, wherever it is. That's not B, but you get my point. M, M. And again, what are they doing when they're doing this? They're using their shoulders. And again, we have to have strong, big muscles to have strong little muscles. So the stronger our shoulders are, the stronger our fingers will be. When they go to write, it won't be so tiresome because we'll have strong fingers and strong shoulders to hold us up. So, plunger letters for a plumber. All right, the next one, I have another letter activity. So this is a white piece of paper with just a whole bunch of letters on it. And also, if you want to differentiate that activity, instead of, because that would have, and again, this one too, if that one has uppercase, grab if you want to make it trickier, or maybe the other group of students you have is ready to match uppercase and lowercase, put out lowercase manipulatives with uppercase letters. Another way to differentiate that would be to grab these sound magnets. I got these on Amazon. So instead of grabbing a letter for the plungers, they would grab a sound, zipper, Z, and they would plunge it, okay? So again, you can make it as easy or as tricky as you want, and pick the skill that you know your students need to work on. You can also put all 3 of these on the side, put the lowercase, the uppercase, and the sound, because students will naturally pick the manipulative that is at their level, because are you really gonna pick something that's hard that is impossible for you to do? No, you're gonna go, oh, uppercase, that's what I can do, and they'll naturally grab those. So you can have more than one out at once. Okay, so we love our veterinarian. So why not make this activity go with a veterinarian? Now, to make any activity any butcher paper more engaging, I sometimes just put out like the figures on the table or maybe on the sides, again, just to make it more fun. So there's a couple ways you can do this one. In my dog bowl, I have little letters, and they're dog bone letters, so you can do matching. And I wrote the letters on the dog bones, G. And I have an uppercase one. I have one of each uppercase and one of each lowercase. Obviously, I'm probably not gonna find all of them, but just put it out with the dog bowl. And then now this is a great game for a veterinarian community helper. Now, again, if they love this, let's do it again another day, but with a twist. instead of just having them match the letters, put out some dog bones, and now they can build the letter with the dog bone. And what are these dog bones, you ask? These are just dog bones from like the dog section at the grocery store or Target or wherever you buy your dog bones. There's some that are little, there's some that are big. There's different colors. But how much fun is that for your veterinarian? Again, you can build the letters or you can match them by writing the letters on the back of the dog bones. You pick, and you have a really fun letter activity for your veterinarian community helper. Okay. Done and done. All right, ready? Put that off to the side. So now let's do a chef. So chefs make pizza. So what I did was I drew a pizza. I colored it in with crayon, so that way you could really see the letters and the toppings. And then what you're gonna do, again, you can do this a couple different ways. You can put out letters, and what they're gonna do is match the letter. And you typically, when I do a butcher paper activity, I typically have the manipulative, like I put out manipulatives that are that color to match if it's something that's like pizza-ish. So I would just grab out all of, I love letter beads. These are from Learning Resources. No, I don't work with them. I probably should. These are just my most favorite letter manipulative next to magnet letters. So you can just grab these and they can match the letters. And again, they also come in lowercase. Woo! So that you could match lowercase, uppercase, whatever your heart desires. Q, and then they would find it. I can't find it off. I'm sure it's somewhere in here, but there it is. Okay, so again, we are just gonna match the letters. And again, I don't look like I'm stretching because I'm a big human. And our little humans, our little learners, they're small. So it's literally going to take their entire body to reach over to do the end, or they may have to walk around the table. A lot of times when I do butcher paper activities, I stack the chairs so they aren't sitting and doing the activity. I want them up on their feet, moving, stretching, walking around, engaging with their peers. So a really fun way to do chef is to match letters. And again, you could also do this with numbers. You can make it into numbers. If you want to practice sounds, use your sound magnets. So there you go. You have a fun activity for a chef. And you could really do any kind of food with this, as long as you can draw it, right? Now, we also have a baker. And who doesn't love a donut? So I drew a donut. I drew a whole bunch of letters on here, and you can tell this time I have uppercase and lowercase on here. So again, they are going to match the letters, and they can match uppercase with uppercase, lowercase with lowercase, whatever you want to do. You could, again, you could put numbers on here. You could put shapes and match shape buttons. Okay, again, you could have the uppercase letters with the lowercase letters out. So fun. Again, this is a great butcher paper activity for a baker. Now, maybe you're like, I don't need a letter activity. Don't worry, I got you. Bakers also make birthday cakes. So, I drew a whole bunch of cakes. And this time, in case my friends aren't able to recognize the numbers yet, I did put that many sprinkles on the cake. So 4 has 4 dots on it, 8 has 8 dots on it, 9, and kind of so on. So for this one, let's move this down here. Some more space. Okay. There we go. All right, so we have all of our cakes. Now, you can do a couple things. If you have real candles, that's perfect because you can put the candles on the birthday cake. So these are just some real candles I have, and you can put 5 on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then if you have like number birthday candles, they can put those on there too. And again, I would probably have the number candles in a different basket. These are just the candles you get from like Walmart probably. I know you're thinking the kids are gonna break them. They may break the small ones. I had a set of these when I taught full day. I think they lasted about 10, 12 years because they were thicker and bigger. Now they did look a little sad once those, 10 years were up or whatever, but they were great. So that way they can match those. And you can also put out some sprinkles, which again, just pom-poms. I'm not gonna use the tweezers to be faster, but that way there's many things they can put on their birthday cake. They can put the candles, they can put the sprinkles, and then they can put the number candle on there for your baker. Now, if you don't have candles, don't go out and buy them. It's totally fine, I got you. Make candles with pipe cleaners. So you would have, that one's a little bit. 1, I always have them to count in their hands. That way if they mess up or they forget, they don't have to like take it off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then they can check it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, I have 5 candles. Then they could put their candles on. Again, if you don't have real candles, it's totally fine. They will be just as happy with the pipe cleaner candles because you know why? Look. And that's so fun. Such a fun way to clean up your candles. So fun. Just put out a little magnet one. And trust me, they will want to clean up more if there's a magnet one involved. You can also, instead of using these sprinkles, you could also use the little magnet chip counters, so that way they could clean them up with the magnet ones too. So that is another option for a baker activity. So you could do the donut or you could do the cakes. All right. This one's really big. So this is, oh my gosh, this isn't gonna fit. Okay, so this is for Firefighter, right? So at the bottom, so it has the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I drew my numbers too big. Ideally, I would like them to go to 10, but it's okay. Right? I didn't want to redo it. But if you can tell, I have buildings. I have different buildings, and in my buildings, I have numbers on them. Okay, we're gonna have to, we'll put this in the middle so that way we can see. Okay, so I have fire, which if you have these for your light table, grab, they're just those little like treasures. I call them treasures, I don't know what they are. But I grabbed all the orange and the yellow, and you could, if you have red, you could grab the red ones. I probably should have. And the white ones. So then they can count, they could put that many in, right? So again, I like to have them count in their hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then they would put 5 in, so that would be like the building on fire, right? And then I found these little itty bitty fire trucks. I'll link them after this is done. Little itty bitty fire trucks. So at the bottom, once they find it, then they can make the number with the fire truck. So they can trace the number. So now they, and also too, since I have them in order, if they can't identify the number, they can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that one is 5 because at the beginning of the year, sometimes we are not able to identify all those numbers yet, and that is okay. So you have your little fire trucks at the bottom, your fire. They are going to put that many in the window. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, these are, if you don't have these, again, don't go out and buy them. Use pom-poms. Totally fine too. So you could use like a red, orange, yellow, and white pom-pom. Put those out. Those will work just as well too. Again, we're not buying all the things, except maybe these fire trucks. You guys are so cute. They're actually like a party favorite. They're so adorable. Oh, look, and they pull back. Oh, it went there. So they're so fun. How, like, so many things you could do with these. But anyway, so that is our firefighter activity, which I thought was really fun. And here, let me try and back it up so I can show you the whole thing. Okay. Again, we want this big, so they are walking around, they're moving, they're stretching, they're using their big muscles and their little muscles. So fun. There's that one. All right. The next one we have is for a farmer. So I drew a whole bunch of shapes on green paper, just with a brown marker. Again, you guys, these like so fancy, right? So I drew those, and then what I'm gonna do, because farmers drive tractors, right? So I'll have some tractors out. So I have very fancy tractors, but that's only because when my kids were little, they loved tractors. So these are from when my kids were little. So what they can do is they can trace the shape with the tractor. So they can say rectangle. Okay, and now they have to plant the crops. So I just have shape buttons in here. So I'm just gonna find some rectangles on top. Obviously you would, have them match all of them, but just so you can kind of see how it would go. And again, if you have the shape buttons on here, look, they can still trace that shape, right? And you don't have to have a bazillion tractors. And again, if you do this during arrival time or dismissal, you can grab these from the block center. That way you don't have to have a lot more. And there you go. Then again, just grab some shape buttons and draw the shapes that your students need to work on. Now, maybe your students love trains, or maybe like you live somewhere where there's a subway. Like we live in St. Louis, my kiddos don't ride the trains a lot. But like, New York, like you guys ride the subway a lot. That also terrifies me because I will get lost. But, so why not? I was gonna show you how simple it is to set it up. So I have little, again, my kids love trains when they're little. These are their toys from when they were little. I have little mini trains. I think these are like Thomas. You could put this on green paper. You could put it on brown paper, whatever you want. And you can make, again, this is just that India ink. So you would draw your train tracks. And then you could draw other shapes. And then you could have your shape buttons out. So that's not a square. So they can match the shapes. And then they can draw the train or the shape with the train. You could also do this with letters. Again, you could have farm letters. You could have train letters for farmer or engineer. So yeah, so fun, right? And again, that's all you do to make the activity. It's nothing crazy. I do keep all my, because I show you guys, but I do even, I'm not teaching this year, but I keep all my butcher paper activities. And what I typically do is I fold them in half, and then I have those clippy hangers on like a garment rack, and I put them all on there. And you can write on the side what it is, so that way you, if it's like folded too many times, because some of mine are really, really big because I did them specifically for the floor, so that way I can see what they are without having to open all of them. Okay, another one I have. So again, this is just a white piece of paper with a whole bunch of little shapes. I drew with this. And again, this you could use for a ton of different themes. So this one is for a doctor or a nurse. So we have a whole bunch of Band-Aids. Now, what you're gonna do with these is run these through the laminator, because otherwise your kids, I haven't done this yet, but otherwise your students are going to pull this off. And then you can use this once and you'll be done. But I wanted to use Band-Aids as a manipulative. So I'm gonna take these Band-Aids, run them through the laminator, obviously not in a clump, but like one at a time. And then I'll have Band-Aids that we can use for the activity. Now, you could also have them stick them on. I wouldn't, because that would get expensive. Although you can find like a whole bunch of Band-Aids at the Dollar Tree. But anyways, what I would have them do would be to make the shapes. And if you wanted to too, you could put a heart in the middle. Actually, let's go ahead and do that. Because doctors and nurses, they take care, right? So you can put a heart in the middle of each shape because the doctors and nurses and therapists are all there, or ambulance, EMTs are all there to help make us better, right? So maybe you would wanna put a little heart in the middle, and then they can make the shape. Now, maybe you don't have a lot of Band-Aids, no worries. Use popsicle sticks, or you can call them tongue depressors. That way also you could use these for like the long rectangles, and for the circles, they may just have to kind of overlap them. Or you could put out some kind of like white string. You could put that out too. For like stitches, you could put out white yarn if you don't want them to use this, because obviously circles don't have any straight sides. So I think of these things on the fly, but I would put out white yarn because those would be the stitches, and that way they can make the curvy shape. So have out, again, laminate your bandages. Oh my gosh, I'm dropping things. Laminate the bandages, have out popsicle sticks or tongue depressors that are different sizes, and then have out white string for the stitches, and then they can make all of those fun 2D shapes. Like, how fun is that? Again, it's nothing crazy. I love it when I don't have to buy a whole bunch of new things, but there's that. Now, if you want to work on 3D shapes, you totally can, but again, community helper, you usually do that theme in the fall. So if you're gonna sort, especially if you teach preschool or pre-K, I typically don't have all, and I'm sure kinder too, the first couple times you introduce 3D shapes, I typically only have 4. So I have cylinder, sphere, rectangular prism, and cube. So we have all the people that work at a grocery store. We have the cashiers and the clerks, and then we have the delivery truck drivers. So I just took a food basket out, and then I took some of my food that I have in my closet from Dramatic Play, all the different things. And then they can sort by the lemonade can, it's frosting. Throw in the shapes or the fruits for your spheres. Obviously there's a ton of cylinders. Got some rectangular prisms. Again, this is all covered in environmental print. You can probably literally go through your pantry and find all of these. I have all these like in my Dramatic Play kind of set, but it's really cute to put it in here. I had a cube, I forgot what I had earlier. But also, you can also put out, if you have 3D shape manipulatives, just grab the ones that are on this one. Now, you could also do this for construction worker and grab the blocks from the, you can see that. Grab the blocks from the block center, since construction workers build. And you can sort those if that's easier. Woo! There we go. Okay. But that way there's some little ones to sort and some big ones, but this would be great for when you're talking about all the people that get the food to the grocery store. So like the delivery truck drivers and the grocery store like workers, the stockers, and the cashiers. Yes, very important we have grocery store workers, because otherwise we would have no way to get our food. So super, super fun. I just grabbed this, super easy. Just makes it a little bit more fun and engaging when it's in the shopping bag. So that is another one. And again, if you don't want to do 3D shapes, totally fine. Turn this into 2D shapes, and you can talk about what you can do. Like this is a rectangle, and this is a rectangle. This has a circle. So you could do this with 2D shapes too, with all your grocery store food. All right. I have a couple more left. So for sorting, a lot of us have, where did I put them? Our people counters. Oh my gosh, right here. So I have all of these people counters. So you can sort them into the houses. Obviously, this is a super, super basic kind of activity. But again, we are just sorting by color. It's a great way to introduce sorting, what sorting is. And you could even like put different names on this house, on this one. So this one maybe might be the grocery store, and this one is like all the different community places. So this one is, the red one might be the hospital, and the orange one is the mechanic, and all the different places. Instead of just having like them be a house, you can make them different shapes and sizes too. Or you can even grab like a sign. On my community helper blog post, I have different signs of all the different places in the community. Download them, print them, and I have them taped to jingle blocks. You could even put those on there, and they can sort by color that way. And it's also, again, super simple activity, but you're getting them talking. We're really building that vocabulary of all the different, what different workers are called, the different places they work, tools they use, all of those things. Because developing a student's vocabulary is so, so important, because if they don't have those words in their vocabulary, they won't be able to use them in their writing. Obviously, that's like 1st and 2nd grade, right? But again, we're just laying the foundation. So when they're in, 1st and 2nd grade, we have helped them develop this amazing vocabulary. So now they can put them in their writing to explore and express their ideas. So sorting and graphing kind of go hand in hand. These are my basic sorting graphs, okay? I love these because these work for like every theme. So whatever counters you have, grab those. Maybe you have the transportation counters. So we have a bus driver, and maybe you're gonna call these a taxi or an Uber. So we have our drivers, we have our engineers, we have a pilot, okay? And then we have the firefighter, okay? So you can sort these. And again, we're using things we already have in the classroom, and we're just using that vocabulary. So how this would work would be, is they would just, instead of putting them in like a clump, they're just gonna make them taller. They can even put them end to end if they want to grow and see which one is the tallest. And then obviously they would make all of them grow. By the end, you would have a big, beautiful graph. Again, using what we already have. Maybe you have, I have these zoo counters, but obviously these are different colors. So you can be a zookeeper, and they could, obviously you would have to make it different because they don't have red in this set, they have brown. But you can be the zookeeper, and they can sort the animals by color. Okay, and again, we're just making a giant graph. A lot of kiddos don't know their animal names. A lot of kindergarten teachers are shocked when I say that, but a lot of kiddos get mixed up between like lion and tiger. Again, we're developing those vocabularies because they're small, and then we tell them all the things, and we give them all the fun activities to help their brain grow and develop that vocabulary. So grab whatever counter you have, think about what occupation it goes with, and make a color graph. So zoo would be zookeeper. If you have pets, that would be veterinarian. If you have the transportation counters, it would be all of those drivers or whoever works in those vehicles. And then kind of the same thing. I have another one. This is one I keep and use all the time, but I have numbers at the bottom. So, I wonder if I could do it diagonal. We'll grab these again. And you could do 1, obviously, 2, and then you have 3. And again, we're just counting, making a graph. But again, you don't have to use counters. You could use mini erasers for whatever theme or whatever community helper you would want to do. And by the end, you would have them all the way across. And then once they complete that, they clear it off and go do it for the next one. Now, usually when kiddos work on one together, they may not do all, like obviously if there's 3 or 4 kids working on this number graph, every kiddo is not going to do every number. Again, it's a collaborative group fun project to do together. So, there's that. And then, oh, there's my number. The other idea I have for you is to just do a sticker connect butcher paper activity. So let me show you how you would do that. So this is what it would look like at the end. So basically they put the stickers on and then they connect, which again, sounds like a super duper easy activity, but it's great to help students develop those eye muscles. Oh my God, this won't work. These stickers will work. So again, we're just working on developing those eye muscles because when they have to read, they have to be able to track. And we have to develop our eye muscles just like we have to develop our finger muscles and our arm muscles and everything else. You saw me, I was talking, but I take the back off the stickers typically, and this is what I do so I don't have to have a bazillion stickers. So I would probably just use one, put out 1 or 2 sticker sheets for this. That way we have, again, I don't have to use all the stickers. So basically what they do is they put the stickers on, and some kiddos will come into your classroom and they have never used a sticker before. So they're gonna have to learn how to manipulate the paper, talk about how you pull one side back, and you have to look and grab it from the other side. And then you can put out markers. So once their fingers get tired or they get annoyed or frustrated, whatever it may be, or maybe they love the stickers, so maybe they're gonna put all of their stickers on. But for some kids, they will pull the stickers off super easy. Some, it will be very hard and frustrating for them to do this. So have the markers out ready to go. But this, I have these little student stickers, I call them. These would be great for a teacher when you're talking about teachers as community helpers. And what they're gonna do is they're just gonna connect, and sometimes they'll draw over the sticker, and that's okay. They're just gonna connect. Now they can go all the way over, all the way. They can do ones that are close, and you'll see them get really quiet because they're really gonna have to focus to do this. And what I love about this is, let's say that kiddo's done, the next kiddo can come up. Let's say he does his stickers or she does her stickers, and then obviously they're not gonna do it this fast, right? They can connect, but like they can do them all over the tops of each other. They can color and keep going. Obviously, once it gets really busy, it's gonna be harder for the kiddos' eyes to track, which again, just move the paper, or you can keep it on the roll at the end, kind of like, let me show you. I kind of have the roll here. So let's say you only have this much out. You can pull it down once this side gets full. And then that way the next kind of group has a kind of a new place to kind of connect all the stickers. And again, this looks super simple. Oh, you didn't even see what I was doing. Sorry, I moved it on you guys. But again, it's really helpful and really beneficial to work on tracing and like having our eyes kind of track and move. It's working on all of those visual motor skills that are really important when students go to read. Again, when they're looking up and they have to when they look up at the teacher and then they have to copy something, like you say, write an A, and they have to go down with their paper, their eyes are having to track. So even if you're not reading in preschool and pre-K, their eyes still have to track if they're looking at their name as a model. And like, let's say their name is right here, says Jackie. Okay, there's the J. Now I have to move my eyes from here to here, and then I have to trace it. Or maybe I'm copying on top of something. Maybe I'm copying my name. Maybe I wrote it in yellow, or the teacher wrote it in yellow, and I have to trace it over the top. Again, I'm having to track and trace, so my eye muscles have to work just like my finger muscles. So this is, again, a super, super simple activity, but it's super, super great to, again, develop those eye muscles and, again, fine motor, because we're pulling the stickers off and we're having to use a writing tool. And I typically use markers because crayons are harder. If you don't like, if your kiddos are fisting all of your markers like this, what you can do is you can get the pipsqueak markers. You can also encourage your kiddos to keep the marker cap off. Because a lot of times if they put it on the back, then they will for sure fist the marker. But if it's off, then they won't. You can also get pipsqueak markers. You can also get the skinny markers. Those are all great too. So yeah. So tons and tons of fun activities that butcher paper activities that you can do for a community helper theme. Sorry. One more. So for a mechanic, I was like looking around to make sure I didn't forget anything. And lo and behold, I did. So a mechanic, we can't forget about that community helper because they help make our cars work when they are broken. So we have our mechanic. I love, these are actually sandbox cars. Okay. They're the cars that I get like in the summer section, and they're for like the sandbox. Now you don't have to have these, whatever cars you have work. I just like these because they're really big. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna cover the paper, the whole table, in a giant piece of paper. You're gonna put out 1 plate of paint per car. They're gonna roll it in the paint, and then they are going to roll and paint all over the butcher paper with the car. What is this doing? I'm using my upper arm muscles. I'm getting those really, really strong. I'm loving life. I'm having fun with paint and art, and I'm printing. And I don't know about you, but big like art projects like that, like car painting, typically is a hot mess, I feel like, in the art center. So it's the perfect activity to do as a butcher paper activity. You can cover the whole table so that way it's easier to clean up. And then when it's dry, you can either hang it up or you can put it like as the background of your bulletin board or on the wall outside your classroom with pictures of the students making it. Or let's say you have 18 kiddos in your class, cut it up and give one piece to each kiddo, and then their art is on there somewhere, right? But it's a collaborative art piece. So now instead of throwing it away, each kiddo gets a little piece of art to take home, and it's just a giant paper. You were able to sneak in some art into your classroom, which is sometimes hard and messy, and it was just a blast. And the couple times that I've done it as a butcher paper activity, I have kids that drive the car all the way around the table, and they're walking and they're having these great conversations about cars, and they're making noises and like all the different car noises and all of that great motor, all of that great conversation, all of the oral language that's happening, all of the great motor muscles they're using. It's just a really great fun activity for them. And again, it's not a lot of mess. Have them put on art smocks, cover the whole paper, and you're good to go. You can also just squirt paint on the paper and then they can drive through it. I typically use colors that don't make brown. So like use cool colors like green, purple, and blue, or you can use the warm colors, red, orange, and yellow. And that way they make kind of not, poop brown. So there you go. So that is a fun activity you can do for mechanics. So I hope you guys loved all of these butcher paper activity ideas for community helpers. Let me know in the comments if you would like me to do a video all on community helper activities for the light table. So let me know in the comments if you would like me to do that. If not, go up to the top of the post or the bottom, wherever the links are for this video, and check out all of the fun community helper activities we have on the blog. There's the book list, there's some freebies, there's some all kinds of dramatic play to go with all the different community helpers. So yeah, so enjoy all those resources, and you guys have an awesome night. And don't forget, I do have butcher paper blog posts and videos for each season. So there's fall, winter, spring, summer. all of them. So enjoy.